Hello and welcome to the Media Online's new video series where we ask newsmakers the hard questions and explore the hot topics. I'm the site's multimedia journalist, Michael Bratt. Nothing has dominated the headlines more in recent weeks than the goings-on at the SABC. Our guest joining us to share his views on the matter is Sekoetlane Phamodi, National Coordinator of the Save Our SABC Coalition. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
We'll start at the beginning. How did the SOS Coalition come about, and what is the purpose of it?
So 10 years ago, the SABC went through what is called the blacklisting scandal. And then soon after that, it fell into a financial meltdown. And then out of that, a number of society organizations were formed out of the SABC financial crisis. This included the TV IEC, which consisted of local content producers who had contracts with the SABC and were needing to be paid, as well as the SOS Coalition, whose principal focus was to start engaging the breakdown of the SABC, building up a new board, and then starting to see through a turnaround plan. So that's really where the SOS Coalition started back in 2008.
Okay, and SOS Coalition has been making a lot of noise recently about the goings-on at the SABC.
Yes.
In the organization's opinion, what is wrong at the SABC?
Well, there are a number of structural problems with the SABC. First of all, the SABC doesn't have a clear turnaround plan, and this was something that was a condition of them getting the government guarantee back in 2009. Secondly, there's the issue of pathologically unstable boards and pathological corporate governance failures inside of the organization. These were found to, or these allegations of the pathological breakdown of the SABC and its instability was confirmed by the Public Protector in her report When Governance and Ethics Fail. And over and above that, we are seeing a great deal of both ministerial interference as well as, on the other side, commercial interference in the organization by, in particular, MultiChoice Africa.
How much of those problems are Hlani Motsoeneng?
I think we need to look at the Hlani Motsoeneng picture more broadly, rather than just focusing on the person, individualizing the problem. Certainly, Mr. Motsoeneng is a significant problem inside of the SABC. All of the major issues of controversy around the broadcaster have had him in the center. But we need to understand that even if Mr. Motsoeneng had to go and he had to be replaced, we would likely be seeing the same problems happening around this person. Indeed, we've seen this with the CEO, Frans Matlala, who was appointed 4 months in, was then suspended as a result of his, at least presumably as a result of his cooperation with Treasury's investigation into the 40 million procurement for a television studio at the SABC, and now he's on his way out, and reportedly with a golden handshake of 18 million for only 4 months worth of work. And we're going to see another person come and fill this post, and we're going to see the same problems. So the issues are structural. We have a board that doesn't govern the organization appropriately and in line with the Broadcasting Act. It doesn't have a clear sense of what the business strategy should be, and they're just simply allowing Mr. Motsoeneng to do what he wills in the organization. Then you have a minister who is very much intent on interfering in the affairs of the broadcasting corporate, the SABC, and she has at multiple points done her utmost to either protect Motsoeneng from any kind of censure or consequences as a result of his conduct, or has been instrumental in the removal of board members who have spoken out against Motsoeneng. Then you have a parliament or a parliamentary portfolio committee, which is not at all interested in interrogating the quarterly reports that the SABC has to provide to the public through that forum, and is actually far more interested, particularly from the ANC caucus, has been far more interested in political point scoring and obstructing any kind of constructive engagement around the SABC. So at multiple levels of the public broadcaster, we are seeing some really some really key problems around how the governance of the organization in the benefit of the people of this country is actually not satisfactory.
Recently, journalists held a protest outside the SABC, and you were there at that protest, notable because you were in chains and had a gas mask on. A big statement from you.
Yes.
Then after that protest, you had a meeting, well, a group had a meeting with Sekoetlane Phamodi. You were one of the people who was a part of that meeting. Can you tell us what was said during that meeting and what were the outcomes?
Well, firstly, we demanded to be heard, and we demanded to have bilateral engagement with Motsoeneng and what was left of the SABC senior executive team. Incidentally, it was only Motsoeneng, his head of news and current affairs, and his advisor Anton Hienis who attended the meeting, so we didn't even get to see the acting CEO, James Aguma. At that meeting, we raised several points. The first point was the fact that the suspensions of the SABC 8 were unlawful and that they had to be reversed effective immediately. Motsoeneng claimed that he didn't know anything about these suspensions and in any event was not able to intervene in these processes, but nevertheless he said that he would investigate and come back to us with an answer around what is the status of the suspension. We wanted to know what the charges were, which he refused to entertain as a demand, but nevertheless we pressed on that particular point, and he committed to coming back to us on the following Monday. The second point was really around how the absorption of staff which were staff in the procurement and security services, another procurement services, my apologies. So secondly, there was the staff in the TV license collections unit and the security services unit who were employed under labour broker contracts, and they were being absorbed now into the SABC. The issue there was the fact that they were not being allowed to organise and unionize, and we were discussing, or at least our core demand there was to find a way forward in terms of allowing these people to be organised and unionised, and for unions, SABC unions, Mwasa in particular, who has been shut out of the SABC, to be able then to organise these workers. The third issue, which I think is really the core issue around the series of suspensions as well as editorial directives which we believe are unlawful were given, is the editorial policies of the SABC, which were newly revised in February 2016. Now, with those editorial policies, no public process in line with the Broadcasting Act was followed in terms of revising these editorial policies. The SABC was in law required to present a draft set of policies for the public to engage with and comment on, and then also publish on its own undertaking to publish a final set of policies with a reasons paper. Neither of these things happened, and the editorial directives that Motsoeneng is giving, including the directive against the airing of protests which may or may not be violent in nature, and include the destruction of public property. These were, this directive was given in line with this unlawfully revised editorial policy, and then the refusal by the SABC 8 to, or at least their criticism of the directive and their pushback against it resulted rather in their suspensions, which then makes their suspensions manifestly unlawful. So we were engaging there to see to have Mr. Motsoeneng agree with us that they have to be revoked, those editorial policies, and all editorial directives given on the basis of these policies. And this is a point that he refused to engage outright. Nevertheless, we were supposed to meet the following Monday, and just shortly before the Monday meeting, which is a noon meeting, he phoned us and just made it clear that he was not prepared to meet with us and that he was not prepared to revoke the suspensions at all, and that the disciplinary processes would continue as they had been planned. So here we are stuck in this position where SABC journalists who are trying to do their job to provide the news without fear or favour are being harassed and intimidated by Mr. Motsoeneng and his editorial team. And then on the other hand, the SABC has now escalated the issue by firing 4 of the 8 suspended SABC journalists. And now that is in process.
So after this, where to for the SOS coalition? What's next?
Well, so the SABC 8 have taken the matter up to the Constitutional Court and sought a direct access application. And we have been cited as respondents in the matter in order to enable us to participate in this matter through the Constitutional Court. Our support is for the SABC 8 and for an independent SABC that broadcasts the news as they happen without fear or favour. We have also started engaging with the ANC as well in light of the governing party's influence in both Parliament and also in the executive, being the governing party, and we are looking to see if they might also be willing to and able to actually address this matter head on by intervening through democratic channels. So hopefully Parliament will engage with this matter directly and see that an investigation into what is actually going on in the SABC and the reasons for the pathological crisis that is now 10 years in the making, as to what the reasons for that are, as well as how it is that would be best in resolving this matter. So we are engaged at multiple levels, as it were, in terms of trying to address this problem, both the political and statutory processes, but then on top of that we're also engaging through the courts.
Best of luck for all your future endeavours. That was Sekoetlane Phamodi. He's the national coordinator of the Save Our SABC coalition. Until next week, I'm Michael Bratt.